Contemporary artists Kehinde Wiley and Omar Diop use religious iconography within the medium of portraiture to constitute Black bodies as ethereal, authoritative, and glorious. Both artists reappropriate pre-existing historical artworks, replacing the original subjects with images of contemporary Black figures to visually realize a Black theology of liberation. Drawing on the historical relationship between European portraiture and state power, Wiley and Diop's works act as interventions in the legal construction of authority, asserting that Black people can derive power from within themselves and from relationships with fellow members of the diasporic community. Kehinde Wiley is a New York City-based artist renowned for his majestic portraits of contemporary Black figures, both famous and unknown. This 2016 stained glass work of Wiley's is entitled Sancta Maria Mater Dei, which translates to Holy Mary, Mother of God. Wiley depicts Mary as a young Black woman with purple hair, wearing a nose ring, acrylic nails, and black heels. Her son, Jesus Christ, is a young Black boy wearing contemporary clothing and carrying a soccer ball, connoting the whimsy of childhood. The two figures exude authority as they gaze down directly at the viewer, chins thrust and unsmiling. Wiley's use of stained glass, as well as the sheer size of the piece at almost 8 feet tall, adds to the breathtaking quality of the work. As the glass causes light to flow delicately across Mary and Jesus' faces, viewers gaze up reverently, replicating the ritual of prayer. Wiley's choice to combine decadent religious iconography with the figure's contemporary street clothes works to assert that the everyday experiences of people of African descent are imbued with grace and holiness. This assertion is exemplified by Wiley's depiction of Mary as a Black woman, shown physically protecting her son, her arms lovingly wrapped around him. Wiley relies on viewers' assumed understanding of the historical, cultural, and religious significance of Mary to assert that Black femininity and motherhood are protective and selfless. Omar Diop is a Senegalese photographer who photographs his own body in order to recreate artworks representing influential figures in the history of the African diaspora. His 2014 work entitled Saint Benedict of Palermo is based on a sculpture by Italian artist José Montes de Oca. The sculpture depicts Saint Benedict, a Moorish friar whose parents were enslaved Africans. In Diop's recreation of the original sculpture, he presents himself clad in decadent gold robes, his hands outstretched in a welcoming manner. Like Wiley's Mary, Diop's Saint Benedict gazes directly at the viewer, unsmiling. Ethereal light illuminates his face and bounces off his golden robes, drawing the viewer's eye directly to his body as a representation of pure beauty and power. Like Wiley's Jesus, Diop's Saint Benedict carries a soccer ball. His inclusion of a soccer ball suggests a tongue-in-cheek critique of associations between contemporary Africans and sports. The ball looks out of place in Diop's work, even though its golden hue matches his costume. Its silliness signifies that religious and intellectual rigor are the true legacies of the African diaspora. Diop's photograph works to draw attention to the long history of Black figures who had profound influence both within the African diaspora and on the world at large. By inserting his own body and subject position into the work, Diop asserts that diasporic webs connect him to these historical figures, constructing an ongoing lineage of Black intellectuals. Omar Diop and Kehinde Wiley each construct histories that go beyond inclusion and towards actively exalting Blackness. While the ultimate effects of these works are in many ways similar, each artist works in different ways. Diop presents himself modeled exactly as subjects first appeared in original works made by European artists, whereas Wiley utilizes the conventions of the so-called Old Masters of Baroque Europe to assert the value of Blackness. Visual differences between the works are also striking. While Saint Benedict stands before a dark, muted background, Mary and Jesus preside in front of an ornate and brightly colored pattern. Despite these differences, Wiley and Diop work together to free us of the imperialist history of Christendom and imagine a world in which masterpieces represent all. In this world, value is not determined by institutionalized power, such as religion or the law, but rather invested in each individual's lived experience. The past and history are not one and the same. Instead, history is an ongoing process of determining which stories are told and which visual experiences are represented. Wiley and Diop's representations of Black religious figures construct new diasporic worlds in which Blackness is beauty, benevolence, and transcendence.
Fresh from the start, ambassador, sprinkle the holy fire on your